Go. That's a shiny forehead. There we go, man. Alright, so let's start this up a little early today. Oh, it's 12 noon here by our standards on my computer anyways. Welcome to Brush Jockey Studios, everyone. I'm OJ, your Brush Jockey. So I'll talk to the camera now because, you know, that's what I'm doing. Today we have Keith with us. As I mentioned last week, my priorities in this hobby are painting first and foremost, and then you know, taking a look more so at the gameplay, and my tertiary priority is the lore and kind of fluff around the Warhammer 40k universe, which isn't very expansive. I know general things about general items inside of the universe, where Keith and I had shared an opportunity to travel back from Cambridge one evening, and he essentially told me the entire, what is it, the calling of the storm? Was that coming of the storm? Sorry, are you muted? I think you're muted there, Keith. Just 1 second here, bud. You were muted. All right, there we go. So. All right. So let's just make sure everything sounds good on my side of things, but nothing's coming through on my desktop. So just 1 second here. I'm just gonna check my settings for my properties of this bad boy here. All right, so we're gonna go here. Okay. Do you mind just saying something else there, Keith? Welcome everybody.
Yeah. So what we were talking about earlier was the Gathering Storm trilogy.
Yeah. Okay. So there you go. I think everything's in here. And everybody's seeing things the way they're supposed to be. Oh my gosh.
Alright, cool. I sounded alright there, so that's not bad. Maybe a little loud, but all in all.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, alright, here we go. There we go. I just want to make sure that you're not cut out there. Alright. You know what? Let me just do something here.
Okay, well, I think we're good to go.
I think so, yeah. Alright, here we go. I'm just gonna...
You gonna tape a little cross?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I'm just gonna... Just get a couple things here going, sorry.
Yeah, no apologies necessary. This is your show. Yeah. I just want to say thank you for having me.
Well, it's good to have you here. So yeah, I will tape my little thing here to make sure that everybody can see where I'm actually going to be, or I can see where I'm actually going to be.
It's a good thing because they're seeing your modeling, because my hobbying abilities are next to none.
Yeah, that's, you know what, I went through that last week with everyone, and I strongly disagree with everyone who tells me that. Everyone who says, "Oh, you know, my hobbying is so horrible, and you know, I don't have any skill, and you know, I don't, you know, oh, I'll never get to the level that you're at, OJ." Where I again, as I said, I strongly disagree, because it's about practice, and it's about kind of, you know, just having those tips and tricks and understanding of it. If you don't have someone who can kind of help you through some different aspects of that hobby, you'll never learn, and you'll never kind of get better. And if you never try because you feel that you're not that good, it ends up being that you just put yourself down and don't get any better. So
it's true. I still have some of the first models that I painted, and I always see my girlfriend's on the Warhammer Instagram a lot, and she'll show me, one of the things is my progress through the ages or whatever, and people post their first model versus what they could do now.
Okay.
And it's like you said, it's just practice. And some of these the first model, just everyone looks the same. The first model, it's just this clumsy mess of a model.
Exactly.
And then you look at here and it's like, well, you picked up all these new painting techniques and you actually learn how to do the painting. And even myself, I say I'm not very good at hobbying, but I can reliably paint an army that is tournament standard now. So
Nice.
that's way better than what I used to be able to do.
Absolutely. And that's exactly my point, right? And you say, oh, I'm glad your hobbying is. Well, we're going to be showcasing some of your stuff here today, so that's going to be good. So let's start off by just showing everybody what we're working on today. I'll get started with it and give kind of an overview of what I had done. So last week I had worked on 2 models. I'd worked on this bad boy right here. All right. Yeah, I got done and kind of finished, which was nice. I do want to touch him up because as I went through and I actually painted 20, 40, 60, 20, 40, 60, 70, 75, 75 acolytes this week. So just kind of show everybody that. Here we go. So you take a quick look at this. Here's all those acolytes over there. That's what I was working on last week and got started. They were primed last week, and now they're finished. So I was pretty stoked. Today though, I'm going to be working on these bad boys right here. So I've got 20 of the, I guess these are jackals they're called? Are they called jackals? Yeah, the bikers
the bike guys, they're the jackals.
So just a kind of an overview of how I've done this.
It's a jackal.
Yes, the jackal. So you'll notice that I've kind of blocked them into sections of 5, and it's not based on the actual squads themselves. It's actually based on the pose that they're in. And the reason I do that is twofold. One, these guys here, I'd have it so that the person who put them together didn't glue the models onto the bikes. And they have a very specific pose for that. But when I was doing all of the acolytes and whenever I do any kind of large-scale painting job like that, I essentially go through the process of finding all of the elements that are exactly the same for all of those models, and I put them into like a little row. So with those acolytes, I had all of the guys with the pouch on the right hand side and the same leg pose. So what that does for me is it makes it so that it's nice and efficient. And when I grab that row of models, every model that I grab in that row is exactly the same. So I know exactly, my mind and muscle memory is knowing where I need to put the paint. So I go through and I put the pouch on the right hand side, and I do the metal on the shoulder pad, or I do the gun the same way, because it's all the same model essentially, or the same pose of that model, where all of those elements are essentially the same on there. So that's what I'm doing today with these jackals, is that I'm gonna work on 5 at a time to get the bases of what I want to do. So I'm gonna take the models off. I'm gonna dry brush the bike silver so that it has that silver rough look. I'm gonna dry brush the models, and then I'll do a black wash and essentially rinse and repeat for each of those five blocks of models. So it'll be kind of neat to see as you go through it, and hopefully throughout the next 3 hours as we're chatting here, you'll see a lot of progress on those. What are you working on today, Keith?
Well, my goals are far less ambitious. I've got a couple of models here with some of the new rules and stuff, and a couple of the tournaments I've been to. I had an old Turvagon model, and let's just say the Turvagon's not very good anymore. So I never actually finished the Turvagon, but this is kind of an idea of what I had here. I don't know how well you can see it.
Yeah, so you had the spawn sack underneath that.
You've got So I had done the Turvagon because back in the day it was really nice, but with the new rules in 8th ed, the Turvagon is far overcosted and just doesn't do anything really. So I'm going to start taking pieces apart here. I took one of the nice things was that I had the one side magnetized, so I had the arms with the magnets there, so I could try and switch it out. So part of that's already done for me, but what I need to do now is to make it into the Tyrannifex, I have to take off the other arm and the stack.
Okay.
So I'm going to do that today. Also,
Nice.
it's a little dusty, so I'm hoping to get rid of some of the dust on there. I don't know if you know the best way of getting rid of dust from models.
Do you have an airbrush?
Possibly start painting it as well. No, I do not have an airbrush.
Okay.
I'm full of hot air, but I don't have it.
So, another good way is if you don't have an airbrush, do you have a large brush? Like a large kind of... Yeah, perfect.
Got a big boy right here.
Yeah, get that wet. So brush it off first with the dry stuff, and then get it wet and get it right into the nooks and crannies. Like not sopping wet, so that it's like
just
kind of
enough
dripping.
to pick
Just
up.
enough to pick up any of the extra stuff in the nooks and crannies of it.
Yeah, that's what I figured. That's what I was gonna go through with that.
Nice.
Then the other model I have here now is a lot of what I had. I was using Ripper Swarms, but what I want to start trying to do is, because with the Ripper Swarms I would deep strike them and they would take an objective, and that's basically all they were good for. What I want to try and do is, for basically the same amount of points, I can take a Lictor and hide him on an objective. And he's -1 to shoot at, and has a better save and cover than Ripper Swarms do.
Yeah.
The difference between the Lictor and the Ripper Swarms, see, I already popped his arms off today.
Okay.
So like I was getting at, the big problem with the Lictor is just his surface area. It's a lot harder to hide the Lictor than it is to hide a unit of 3 Ripper Swarms.
I think it depends on the type of tournament that you're playing, and if you're playing competitively. With the ITC rules and the first level of ruins as being line of sight blocking, it's probably more beneficial to have your Ripper Swarms because you can just hide them entirely out of line of sight.
Yeah.
But when it comes to any other type of thing where it's actually true line of sight, yeah, you're probably better off to have the Lictor in there because he's probably a little bit more durable, less easy to hit, even if the guy, your opponent can see you or see him. It's probably that best option. So that's kind of a...
Yeah, so basically I popped the arms off. I'm going to try and make him less large. Because before I just had him...
I'm sorry, Keith, you just... you're pausing out on me there. I'm sorry about that. You're kind of glitching on my side of things. And let me just see if I can... There we go. Looks like your connection kind of dropped for a second, but you're back.
Yeah, I had a little message there. Okay. Sorry. So I was reading one of the books I was reading had, for the devastation of Ball, the Lictor basically rips his arms off to try and fit somewhere. I'm like, ugh. If only you could just not have those big claws on him like that guy, that he'd be able to hide wherever he wanted.
That's pretty crazy that they just like adapt like that, right?
He's like, man, I really need to blow this thing up, but I'm too big to fit in there. Oh, I guess I'll just rip my arms off so that I can fit.
That's yeah, that's dedication, I guess, to the cause. So speaking of the cause, and what we're working on, you're working on some Tyranids. I'm working on some half-assed Tyranids, I guess you could call them.
The wannabes.
The wannabes. Yeah, like what is the what's the I guess what's the place of the Genestealer cult in the 40K universe? You know, like I have no idea what their background is or history or how they came to be in the universe. And
Yeah, well, the Genestealer cults themselves are basically a Vanguard uh, infiltration force, right?
okay,
They go in before the Tyranid Hive fleets and basically try to get certain worlds ready for consumption before the fleet even shows up.
okay, so it's Genestealers in general.
Yeah. So that's they'll go. Oh yeah, these pliers are amazing. Look at that, nice and clean.
Nice snip off, good stuff.
Perfect. That'll work.
Good leverage on it, right?
Yeah, you got to be careful because you don't want to break the arm at a joint or something, because then you've got that little piece stuck in there, and that's just a nightmare to work with that after.
Also, a big factor of that is the type of glue that was used as well. If you're using plastic glue, yeah, good luck getting that out. You're gonna have to cut it somewhere. But if it's just like hot stuff or something like that, it comes out really easily.
Which I'm thinking I might have used plastic glue for this sack, because they're bigger pieces. So I used a little bit more glue there too, and they fit really nice together. So
We'll find out, right? So Genestealers, they do. I guess they get things ready for consumption on different worlds.
yeah, so what happens is you'll have the Genestealers basically seeded into the galaxy, so either they'll jump on a rogue trader ship or stow away on transport containers, or another big way is there's lots of most space hulks in the galaxy are infested with Genestealer cults, except for the couple of ones that are owned by Chaos or Orcs, because they'll just go through and completely hunt down and kill all the Genestealers.
Okay.
But and it only takes one Genestealer, just one Genestealer to sneak onto your ship without you knowing, and then you land on a populated planet or relay station or whatever it is, and that Genestealer can start an entire cult just on its own.
Wow.
Which
okay.
most of the cults in the that's how all the cults start, is from a single Genestealer. Which, if you look at a hive fleet, you can have thousands of Genestealers.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. So these Genestealers get onto different worlds like Terra or whatever, and essentially, how do they populate? I guess, if that's the right term that's used.
Yeah, I like to think of it like the Ripley's Aliens movies. You know, the alien goes very sneakily around, finds an industry worker. You know, he's tough on his luck. His wife just left him. He's heading home from the bar. You know, he's just tired. He's rough life. You know, and then the Genestealer sees that, and he's like, "Well, this guy's going to be easy. You know, he's on the rebound. I can lure him in, and you know, get my freak on with this guy."
Okay.
So the Genestealer they use their hypnosis abilities. You know, they'll give them the look. You know, hey, how you doing? Maybe a little wink. You know.
So so you're saying that this guy, if he's if he's a lonely man, he might be looking at populating that way.
Well, yeah, he's like, you know what? I've lived a weird life. It is the 41st millennium. Things happen, you know.
True, yeah.
And the Genestealer will just, seduce this man. And then the Genestealer will perform what we call the Genestealer's kiss, which is where he'll go in, grab him with all 4 of his arms. I might be embellishing this part. I'm not exactly sure how this works. But he'll perform the Genestealer kiss on the man.
Okay.
And I like to think it of Ripley's Alien, where he just puts his little tongue injector probe into the guy and then just injects him.
Okay.
Not with egg. In this case, he injects him with genetic DNA of the Genestealer itself.
Okay.
And then over time, that DNA that he injects the guy with will slowly transform him from his genetic code and turn him basically... He doesn't physically turn into a Genestealer, but his genetics will turn into alien.
Something similar.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then he gives birth to what you had been working on, those first acolytes.
Okay, the hybrids.
The ones that are like... Yeah, the acolyte hybrids. They're not Genestealers, but they're not their original host either. They're like they're the second generation, you know.
Yeah.
The first step on the way to becoming full Genestealers. So then now when the Genestealer also does this, yeah, I see that. Croca girl, yeah. I love the Alien movies. That's why I play Tyranids.
Yeah.
And now Genestealer Cults. So now you have that one hybrid, the original Genestealer that did that. Once they release their genetic code and performing the alien kiss, then they start to also undergo a change.
The Genestealers themselves.
Yeah, that Genestealer himself, now that he starts to get a following, like he infects the one guy has the Acolyte baby, the Acolyte grabs more guys and brings it to the Genestealer, they get more people infected, and then you have your base of the second generation of Acolytes, and from that and their synaptic link to the original Genestealer, he starts to evolve into what's known as the Patriarch.
Okay.
So basically, a bigger brood lord.
Okay, so like he's like top dog type of thing. Hazardous, how you doing? Boom, I'm here. Doubled 23.99. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for joining. Just talking about some Genestealer cult while we paint them up.
Yeah.
So then you got, back to what I was saying, so then you got your second generation of acolytes. And now your cult's starting to form. So those acolytes will go. They'll grab more people, other lonely workers, or, you know, other people in the slums, or depends on the world that they're on, right?
Mm-hmm.
But all of this can take years. Like they've got all the time in the world. Genestealers can almost put themselves in like a hibernating state where they require like little to no sustenance, and they can just live for really long times with nothing. So they'll just hide until they find that one lonely guy walking home from the bar. So after that, once the second generation's established, they'll go, and then they'll impregnate the next generation of people themselves. And then from there, you get your neophyte hybrids.
Okay. And the neophyte hybrids, those are a little bit closer to what a Genestealer looks like?
They're closer to what the host looks like.
Okay.
So instead of the 3-armed Genestealer, now these bebes look like the neophyte hybrids. So they're still a little hunched over, but now they only have 2 arms, and from a distance you can be like, oh look, there's Jim over there. Well, if you got closer, you'd be like, oh my god, Jim, you've got this bulbous head and look quite alien actually when I'm up close to you.
So kind of like these guys here that I'm painting, like they're 2 arms.
So kind of like your jackals and the neophytes, you could say. So then those guys will go and reproduce however normally the host species reproduces. And then they'll make what generation one? The next generation, yeah.
Generation 4 at that point, I guess.
Generation 4, which is like your brood brothers and stuff. They're basically passable for they can join the guard, they can be sergeants, like anyone higher up in the order. Those are the guys that are going to do all your espionage, like the Nexus and stuff like that.
Okay.
That's all your guys that are passable as humans, like the Magus and that as well.
Okay.
So they're the ones that really screw things up because they look like humans basically.
Yeah. Yeah, they get behind enemy lines essentially, right?
Yeah. Infiltrate, destroy them from within. Day of Ascension is here, boys.
Nice.
So then after that, they'll reproduce as well, and then that next generation, instead of having more babies that look like humans, these guys will have babies that are literally Genestealers. So it goes back to full circle at that point.
Oh my gosh.
So these guys, and by this time, they're so mesmerized and into this cult that they have these baby Genestealers, and they're just like, oh my god, so beautiful. What a beautiful baby. He's going to be the most popular kid at school.
Because he's a Genestealer.
Yeah.
That's interesting. See, I thought it was just an injection for each of them, like, okay, different types of injections or different types of, I guess host / kind of host and parasite type of thing, not necessarily a whole like generation after generation of them, which is super neat.
Oh, yeah. They're very long term. They would definitely make a very terrifying horror movie.
Yeah, sounds like the good old Alien movies, as Sea Rocka Girl mentioned in there. Sea Rocka Girl is actually my wife. So hey baby, how you doing? Thanks for watching.
Thanks for tuning in.
Double 2399 asks, tell us about the Hierophant. That model's sick.
The Hierophant? Oh, I actually own one. He's around here somewhere. I bought one. I remember back when we were younger, we were talking about it, and that's still a little off topic, but
that's okay.
We always thought, if we ever won the lottery one day, we would all go and buy our Titans from Forge World, right?
Okay.
Well, you know what? I didn't win the lottery. But I've spent almost a lottery's worth on Warhammer. So now I have a Hierophant Bio-Titan. I had started working on him, but things came up and he just never got done, unfortunately. He's definitely the biggest, baddest Nid out there. Love it.
That's the big Bio-Titan, right?
Yeah.
That's cool. Hazardous says, especially the Caiaphas Cain is the hero. He fights a lot of tyrants. I'm guessing Hazard, that he's going to be the hero of the movie. Is that what we're talking about here? Hero fan.
Like he fights more Nids, not so much Genestealer Cults.
Yeah. So with the Genestealer Cults then, and the whole hierarchy that
right.
kind of provides, like how does that play into the lore? I mean, taking a look at the Codex earlier this morning, it was saying that as you start adding detachments into your army, you're not allowed to take characters more than once in that specific detachment. So, like, why is that? Is there a reason behind that? Is it because of just the hierarchy or the?
It is very much part of the hierarchy. I do like how the rules for the Genestealer Cults very much takes into account the fluff for the army. I think they did a really good job balancing. The rules are still good, but they follow true to the fluff still. This was a rule back in, was it 6th or 7th anyways, where you could only have one of each of those characters in your army.
Okay.
But before detachments were a thing.
So like one total.
All the detachments are a thing. Like, you are still restricted to just the one character per detachment, but you can have multiple detachments that have those guys. So there's still ways of getting around it, but I do like the way they have it worked out.
Okay, that's cool.
Basically, it's for every Genestealer cult. Now, there's a little bit of... one of the short stories that came out contradicts their lore a little bit in this regard. Because there's only one patriarch. He's the original Genestealer that infected I guess what turns into the second generation of Genestealer cults.
Okay.
He's your only patriarch. He's essentially the equivalent of a Norn queen for the Tyranids. He's the guy that controls all the cults. They're all connected to him.
So every single one of them,
one way or another.
All of the so is that all of the cults on the single world that they're populating, or?
Yeah, so it'd be just that world.
Okay, so not necessarily all the Genestealer cults that could potentially be in the world in the universe, but at least that specific one.
Yeah, that specific cult, and that's why it's just you only get the one character for that detachment, because you're only going to have the one patriarch, you're only going to have the one magus, and you're only going to have the one primus. And those special characters, you're only going to have the one. So, yeah, but basically how it works is, so once they've done that cycle of birthing and rebirthing, and they take over essentially all the underslums of planets and infiltrate their way into the hierarchy as well, which the more I read into the Vigilus book, the more I'm seeing that side of things more, which I like. I always like seeing more depth into that stuff. It's not a huge lore book, the Vigilus book, so I wouldn't get too excited about it if you're looking at it from a lore standpoint, but it is something new, and it gives you a little more into the Genestealer cults. For a lot of people, it's the Genestealer cults a new army, really.
Mm-hmm.
They've been around for a couple editions, but they were never really good.
Okay.
No offense to Genestealer cult players, but they just weren't that good. But now, so after they reproduce and basically are at the point where they could at any point just rise up and pretty much take control of the planet, or at least bring the infrastructure of it down to where it no longer functions. Like, the planet's useless because it's just part of the cults now.
Mm-hmm.
What they'll do is they'll take those 5th generations of pure stained Genestealers that they made, and they'll send them to other planets to infect other planets and widen their territory.
Okay.
So that's where you get the main cult rules are from main cults, but they've expanded to other systems and stuff through trader ships or like any means. Normally they disguise it as relating to industry.
Okay. So my question then, I guess, that I have is, so these Genestealer cults that we see in my hands here, these guys here, specifically in the universe, in the way that we're seeing the gameplay, I'm guessing these are the ones that kind of like originated on Terra, right? Is it Terra?
Well, there's it's called Tyran. Is the first Tyranid planet. Terra is where the Emperor lives.
Okay. So you see, that's how much I know about the lore. So
people don't normally get to go to Terra, but Tyran was the first planet taken over by Tyranids. Not necessarily the first Genestealer cult. As I go more and more into the book and read more of the new things, some of the things now sound like the first cults were actually in the Ultramar system, and that's what brought High Fleet Behemoth into the place. So we got Hazardous. Yeah, the initial cults, they're basically to get a world ready for a Tyranid invasion.
And then move on to another one once they've gotten to the 5th generation, they move on to be able to then consume or be able to expand their worlds.
The Tyranids will send the Genestealers out, which then become patriarchs and turn the worlds into Genestealer cult worlds. They'll only reveal themselves like centuries, like years after. Like basically, they're only going to reveal themselves in a couple of ways. One way, the Tyranid fleet's here. Well, the fleet's here. Let's go, boys. Let's do it. They'll all jump out from their beds and join the fight and help the Tyranids overthrow the Imperials on the planet. That's their main goal. Is to stay hidden until that point, so they can help the Tyranids harvest the planet. The other ways, Vigilus being an example, is the planet basically is threatened in a way that the Genestealer Cults aren't going to be able to wait any longer for the Hive Fleet to show up. They're going to have to act now if they want to take the planet.
Okay.
So that's what's happening in Vigilus, is the Genestealer Cults are, well, there's no Hive Fleet close, so we got to do it ourselves. So that's when they start almost like prematurely take over the planet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Super cool.
And then the other way is, well, you know what? They've been on these planets for so long, and basically everyone on the planet is a Genestealer cult, that they're just like, well, okay, let's just overthrow the last couple of guys that aren't Genestealer cults and take over the planet. But yeah, cool. Otherwise the cults will just stay there until either the Inquisition or someone finds out that they're Genestealer cult and then go to kill them all. Either by sending a squad of Tempest Scions or a Deathwatch kill team. Either of those cool. Are common.
That's wrapping my head around that. That's kind of like a long game.
They are very long game. They're all about the espionage and long game. They don't do anything short term. Everything they do is that's why the rules for them are like years in planning, because they basically are 5 steps ahead of the planet. They already have been planning for years, and they know all the ins and outs and they know everything, right? So that's what just makes them such a strategic army.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. So let's get a little bit of a update here on where we're at with modeling. So as I had mentioned at the beginning, I'm working on these 20 Ackland Jackals. So I've got 5 kind of pretty much based and ready to go. So I've put this exhaust metal from the metallic colors as a base coat for that for the actual bikes themselves. These guys here were primed black with a dusting of a gray Krylon primer. So I've just kind of essentially picked out all of the metal pieces with that exhaust metal, and dry brushed them as well. And I dry brushed the bikes as well, where the actual anything that isn't necessarily the metal piece would be, just so that the highlights will come out. So what my next step is going to be is I'm going to actually wash with my Newland oil to get those recesses nice and dark and deep in there, and then I'll start picking out all the details on the models, so you see where all the things are. Now, notice as if everybody was watching here, all of the elements of these bikers are the same. Like these little dynamite sticks or whatever they're called. They're all exactly in the same places where I was painting. So as I went through each of these models, it was really nice and quick to be able to pick out all of those pieces, and that's going to make it a lot easier as well when I'm doing those details. So that's super cool. Hazard says, I think Sotha was the first planet. They have the device that drew the Tyranids to the galaxy. Is that something that you can speak to at all, Keith?
I'm not sure about that one. It's quite possible, though.
Cool.
The whole lore is that the Astronomicon is what's bringing the Tyranids to the galaxy, basically. That's why they're being drawn to Terra,
Right on. So how's your progress coming? You getting that guy picked apart?
I'm getting stuff picked apart. I think I got the arm sockets on the Lictor basically dug out at this point. It
Nice.
would be easier if I had the right tools for that.
Maybe a larger
And I
drill
cleaned
bit or
up
something.
the arms. Yeah, if I had a drill bit or something, that would make it a lot easier. So I think the Lictor is ready. I can start working on him. I think before I put the arms back on him though, I think I'm gonna finish painting him.
Okay, that's a good
I
idea.
think I'm going to do the same thing with the soon-to-be Tyrannofex.
Yeah, nice.
I got all the dust off of the Turvagon now. I went
Okay.
through with the brush and got that all off. I
Wasn't-
popped him off the base just to make it easier to get at the sack that I need to take off. It's glued on really well, so I'm not sure. I don't think I'll be able to just pry it off easily. But as you
sometimes
saw
it's pretty deceiving.
earlier, yeah, I had gotten the other arm off pretty easily, like cleanly as well. So I'm happy that that came off the way it did.
Cool. So as mentioned, like last week, I was talking to everybody on the channel and everybody that was here. I want to reach out to the folks that are at home hobbying with us as well. So Hazard and Doubled. Even Sea Rocka Girl, if you're working on any hobby stuff. I know that Sea Rocka Girl isn't, but if you're working on any hobby stuff, if you want to pop over to Brush Jockey Studios on the Facebook page and pop up an image of what you're working on, I'd be happy to share and showcase it with everybody on the stream and kind of give you a sense of where you're at. If you have questions on if you're trying to do something specific, I can, possibly I might have a tip or trick of what I've done in the past to get things done, or if you just want to share and show us some of your stuff that you've worked on. It's the idea around this, as I mentioned earlier before everybody kind of signed in, was the idea around it is to have people get together on a Sunday afternoon, talk about the game that we love to play, talk about the lore of the world itself, and really just get working on some of the things that often bog people down and not get a completed and fully painted army done. So this is it. So if you have that chance, go and put that stuff over. Gloomspite.
It happens, man.
That's what Hazard is working on. Just started though, painting lots of teeth.
Lots of teeth. Yeah, sure.
Oh man.
The Squigs is all about the teeth.
Yeah. So the reason I actually wanted to start kind of doing a thing on really wanted to bring to attention more so my process for large armies or horde style armies is the method I use is actually and I'll find the link to the video itself, but essentially it's a matter of being persistent and finding the most efficient way of doing it. So Geoff, when you're doing that, find those consistencies in those models and line them up, and it makes it so much easier to paint them. So like if you notice that your squigs are in a certain pose, line all the same squigs up with the pose itself, and then get to painting that, because you'll find it much more efficient to go through, and you get less burnt out because your mind isn't thinking where to find those little pieces of of either the pouches or the little teeth or anything else that's on there, like different like spore packs or anything like that. So that's something that you can kind of keep in mind while you're doing that horde army, which I believe it is, right? Cool. So with the new
horde armies are definitely a lot of work.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm getting some progress here. Oh.
This is just popping off. Nice.
Hey, all right.
There you go.
Look at that.
Congratulations, Keith.
That's
you
one
just popped the
side.
sack off of a Tyrannid.
Oh, I just popped that sack right off there. Oh, God, she's not happy. You know what's funny? I popped off the sack and I
Yeah.
just realized I had painted the little things underneath in the sack. You don't even see those. Why did I paint them? I don't know. Oh Lord.
Was that one of your first Tyranid models you were putting together? Maybe you painted it off sprue and then realized as you were putting it together, it's like, oh geez, then you're not seeing it.
I have no idea. Maybe I just, yeah, I don't know. Well, this side is stuck on a lot more than the other one was. But that other one was a clean break. We're doing good, team.
Nice.
Just gotta leverage, you know.
Yeah.
There we go. So lore, yes. Now, obviously, Hazard. I'm not the most knowledgeable person about the lore. There's so much in different books, and even if you were to get the main army's book, there could be little things in other codexes from other armies that have information about other, like, the army you're doing about in it. There's lots of short stories everywhere and stuff. I don't know everything.
Yeah, no.
But the Tyranids and Genestealer Cults more, I'm learning more as with the new book and everything, because I just like the Tyranids are my love. You know, I love aliens, all that stuff. So
Yep. That's cool.
I'm pretty much done the Genestealer book. The only thing I have left to read is basically the individual cults.
Okay.
They each have a couple of pages to themselves, so that was the last thing that I need to do. That, and I was reading the Vigilus, and it was really good up until the Ultramarines showed up with Calgar, and now I'm kind of losing interest, but I'll keep fighting through and read the rest of it eventually.
You're done. Good stuff.
Okay, we're good.
Nice.
I got the sack off.
There you go. That's cool. Now you'll just be able to clean up the edges where you glued. And do you have a file? Do you have a file at all, or?
Yeah, I've got a file and I've got my little sculpting tool. I bought a nice little Mastercraft knife there.
Okay.
The last knife I had ended up snapping. So.
Right on. So with this here then, and the the new codex here, and speaking of gameplay, because that's really where my secondary focus and my secondary interest lies. What do you think are the top three units that people will start seeing in there?
For Genestealer Cults, I'm just gonna say it right now. From what I've looked at and everything, your top unit you're gonna see with the Genestealer Cults is gonna be the Acolyte hybrids.
Yeah.
They're the main troop that they have.
Okay.
Those guys, you can, with the ability, the points reduction in itself is great. They really needed it. They were too many points before. They used to be 11 points a model for those guys. Now they're down to 7. So big change there.
Mm-hmm.
And to upgrade them to the hand flamer was another 4 points or something before too. Now it's only 1 point.
Oh wow.
So for 8 points you can get the Acolyte with the hand flamer.
My.
And just the synergy with the different cults and everything in the armies, that's going to be the main. You won't need anything more than those Acolytes. And they're all troops. Yeah. So they all have secure and all of that, and just I think the new Acolyte squad's going to be the main focus of the army. Everything will revolve around them. Aberrants obviously got a huge buff. They're doing really good now, especially with the Abominant and everything.
Mm-hmm.
They're nice to have. And again, it's that synergy. The characters, I don't want to point out any one character because the synergy for the army revolves around all of the characters, or a good chunk of them now.
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna, if you're fighting Genestealer Cults, you're gonna either see, and you're painting the Jackals right now. I do like the Jackals, but I don't know if I would use any. One thing, I'm very stingy on money. I don't like buying new models.
Okay. So that's one reason. But is there a
that's
gameplay
basically
reason?
that's basically the main reason. Besides that, the jackals are good. They're -1 to hit when you're shooting at them,
Okay.
and they have movement 14. They're fast.
Yeah, they're objective grabbers, right?
They're objective grabbers.
And they can do an ambush, right?
Yeah, you can ambush them.
That's cool.
I like GW is releasing some of that combinations that you can do with the cults.
Okay.
And that was one of the ones they came out with for the jackals, involved the demolition charges, the extra demolition stratagem.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because then that means that all of them can fire their grenades, right?
Up to 5 of them.
Up to 5 can do the demolitions, but up to 10 can throw grenades if they're equipped. So
Yeah.
5 demolitions.
Which
5.
they all come with all of the army comes with the blasting charge grenades.
Okay.
But then you give them the demolition charges because those are the strength 8 AP -2 D3 damage, I believe.
Crazy. That's pretty crazy. Yeah, I've and the acolytes, if I'm not mistaken, they're armed with the rending claw, the acolyte blade, and a pistol, right? Standard.
Yeah, they have the cult knife, the rending claw, and then the auto pistol. But for 1 point, you're not going to give them the hand flamer.
Yeah,
like you're not going to give them the hand flamer, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because you have 2 stratagems.
That could be hazardous.
Oh, okay.
Some of the books that I didn't read so much were the 30k books, so I could totally understand seeing it there. That'd be cool that they reference it back then, but it would also make sense because I guess the cults were around back then too.
Yeah, because they're long gamers, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, just the abilities with those acolytes, man. They're Genestealers in close combat, just 1 less attack.
Yeah.
That's the only difference.
That's pretty
So
crazy.
you can have, for the points, you can have 2 acolytes per one Genestealer.
Mm-hmm.
So for a lot of people that were running that 20-man unit of Genestealers, well, you could have 40 acolytes with hand flamers.
Yeah.
Right.
And with those hand flamers, which is really cool because you they're 6-inch range, but you have 2 different stratagems that allow you to get within, right? There's the perfect ambush, which allows you to move D6 inches after they've ambushed, and lying in wait, which allows you to set up anywhere within 3 inches of a unit, which is disgusting. So for 5 command points or 6 command points, you can have 2 units of acolytes, two units of 20 acolytes.
I don't even think it is 6.
What's that? I think it's three each.
I know the one is 3. I don't know if the other one's 3 though.
But still,
it might be though.
For that amount of points for models to come out to be within 6 inches of you. And then on top of that, there's the abilities for them to be able to get a +1 to their charge if there's certain cults. Add 1 to their charge or advanced moves. Essentially, you can come out, pop out, and not fail a charge on 2 20-man units, and you just watch things disintegrate within underneath those flamers, right? Because they're D6 attacks each.
Yeah, that's so GW. You're gonna get on average 70 hits with that 20-man unit.
Yeah,
hits. That's 70 hits.
Yeah,
not even attacks.
Yeah. Wow.
That's a lot. That's gonna melt things.
Yep.
And like you said, if you have 2 20-man units of those,
mm-hmm.
well, you're basically in range on turn 2.
Yep.
And then they don't mind charging bigger things because they are Genestealers in close combat. They have the rending claws.
Yeah, exactly.
So melt away the chaff and then charge the big things. The acolytes can wound knights on a 4+.
Yeah, there's a stratagem, right, to do that.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about this a little bit earlier. I said I would touch on it in here. It's the Vigilus specialty detachment.
Okay, yeah.
not the one for the Aberrants, but the Deliverance Blood Surge. That one is going to be nasty because it has the stratagem where you get +1 to your wound rolls for the unit.
Wow. And then that coupled with your...
Yeah, you just make them strength 5. There's tons of ways of doing that with the Genestealer Cults book.
Wow. That's going to be super
now they're
cool.
wounding knights on a 4 with Rending Claws. With, if you have, say, 15 or so get into combat, maybe, that's... Also, they'll have, like, 3 or 4 attacks each.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that could be devastating on your back lines.
Those, the Acolytes are going to be the unit to have. And that's, I was talking to Clark, the guy you're painting these Acolytes for, because we work in the same building, funny enough, so...
Nice.
But we were talking about it, and he's like, yeah, I just wish I had more Acolytes. If I would have known they were going to be so good, I would have picked up a lot more when they were cheaper to get in those starter boxes.
Yeah. Probably gonna have... Do you think they're gonna have them in the start collecting box? Most likely.
Yeah, guaranteed they'll be in
the
there.
Acolytes or the Neophytes? That's a good question, though, right? Because the Neophytes are just an upgrade sprue for the Imperial Guard stuff, so it might be a little bit more efficient for them to just put that into them. I don't know.
Yeah, they actually broke those out into different boxes now, I believe.
Oh, did they?
I think the Neophytes are their own box, and then they have the Brood Brothers, which is the Imperial Guards, but with different heads.
Oh, wow.
And the Cult Icons. Whereas before, the Brood Brothers and the Neophytes were the same box. Now they were the same unit, because it was basically that, or you took an Imperial Guard ally.
Mm-hmm.
Now they have the Brood Brothers, where they're in the Codex.
Yeah, but you can also actually use a complete detachment of Imperial Guard, right?
Yeah,
they just
have
lose
that.
their...
You can definitely do
they
that.
They lose their orders.
They lose everything.
Yeah, they lose their orders. They don't. Their tactics or stratagems, and then they gain just the Brood Brothers ability.
Yeah, basically the only reason you would take the Astra Militarum ally now with them is if it was for units that you couldn't take in the Genestealer Cult book.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Because otherwise you might as well just take the Brood Brothers.
Yeah.
From the book.
That's pretty devastating, thinking about those Acolytes coming in like that. I think
they're going to be really good.
Nice. Another unit that I think that as I was reading through, this morning was the Aberrants. Is that what they're called? The big boys.
Yeah, Aberrants.
These guys here. I think I did a unit of 10 up for Clark. Their improvised weapons look pretty damn cool.
There's nothing cooler than beating a Space Marine to death with a street sign.
Yeah, exactly. super neat and super. They seem super
honestly, tough. Yeah. Well, they definitely made them more resilient for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, because they get -1 to the damage done to them, right? Just like the Wave Serpent's Serpent Shield ability.
Yep, very much the same there. Which before it didn't really do much, because I found most of the shots that were multiple shots were D3 or 3 damage. Like, there are weapons that even with the -1 to the damage, your guy's still gonna die because the Aberrants only have 2 wounds.
Yeah.
But they gave them the Feel No Pain now.
Mm-hmm.
So those 3 damage weapons that are brought down to 2. Well, now you got to feel no pain against those 2 on top. So now even those aren't reliably going to be killing an Aberrant anymore.
Yeah.
So that's very cool. And then if you really wanted to, you can use the stratagem where their feel no pain's a 4+ for the phase.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's. We'll see if that gets used that much. I like having the icon ward, the acolyte icon ward, because they get to reroll ones for their feel no pain roll.
Mm-hmm.
That's a cool little thing. Like that.
There's so many synergies in the army, right?
Oh, it's crazy. Like I said, Clark and I were talking about it, and there's just so many combinations. We're both still trying to wrap our heads around them all.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And I think most of that is because they added 1, 2, 3. They added like 5 characters to the army.
Yeah, that's right, eh? Speaking of characters, what character do you think is your gonna be your go-to, your favorite?
Sorry, yeah, Sanfo. I believe they had it in the index as well. They might it might have been when Tooth and Claw came out though. I don't know if it was in the original index. I don't remember. I didn't really play this cult's index at all because I looked at them and was like, I'll play my Nids. They're doing a lot better right now and are cooler.
Welcome to the stream though, Sanfo. This is the first time we're seeing you here. Good stuff.
Yeah.
What,
sorry, what was your question again?
I was asking about your favorite
my character.
Character, yeah.
My character of choice, and it might be just because of GW's marketing, but the Kellermorph, I think, is probably my new favorite character. The one short story they did with him, I was like, that's cool. I like the idea of having that like Western like comes out from the corner and
the model's pretty sexy too. Like
and his rules. I mean, yeah, like look at how gorgeous that model is.
Yeah,
that's
Corey.
Beautiful.
Yeah, welcome. Hey man, what are you working on today? Are you here doing some hobby stuff or just checking out the stream? Speaking of Corey,
building some demons.
Which, speaking of, hey Corey,
is that the Wrath and Rapture demons or just demon princes?
Look at this gorgeous model that I get to paint up for Corey. Probably be working on her next week on stream.
On her?
Yeah. Look at her. Wham, she's sexy.
This might answer my question that I just had earlier. Wrath and Rupture, nice. Rock and roll.
Yeah. That looks, so that's, I guess...
that's so gruesome. I was showing that to the guys at work, and I'm like, just look at how ridiculous this universe is.
Yeah.
It's like, that's disgusting.
It is so crazy how this guy is just like, oh man. My question:
the new models are cooler and cooler, man. I love it.
No, they're gorgeous. What's crazy about this guy, like right here? Let's see. I don't know if I can get the lighting a little bit better here. Like right here, you can see that right here. Where this bone of the actual harp meets his arm, it looks like it's actually like connected to or like into the guy's arm. It's so crazy. Anyways, really looking forward to painting that next week for you, Corey. Should be fun. Mixed Chaos Demons, yeah, Wrath and Rapture. So that's the Slaanesh coming out, and are they doing a? I guess that's the corn stuff that's doing coming.
The new AOS corn stuff is pre-order, or it's going to be on pre-order soon, I believe.
So AOS stuff, and you know that when they do that, they'll probably align with some of like 40k will probably align with some of that.
Yeah, they've been doing good with the demon stuff, giving them rules for both 40k and AOS, I find.
Yeah.
The new ones, anyways. And back to the Kellermorph, because the guy's amazing. His rules are really good, first off. Like, I would definitely... he's almost an auto-include in any army list I make with Genestealer Cults now.
Yeah.
But even just the story of him is the little one that GW released, where there's a bunch of Adeptus Arbites, and they're chasing down this one kid, and because, I don't know, he vandalized something or whatever he was doing.
Okay.
You know, police brutality, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Kellermorph shows up and just kills them all with his stubs, just Western style, just shoots them all. And the kid's all like, "Oh my god, thank you, you saved my life!" And he's like, "Oh, I didn't do it for you." And the kid's like, "Oh." And he's like, "Come with me." And he's like, "Oh, I'll come with you anywhere, our savior." And then he basically brings him to the cult to get assimilated into the cult. And the kid's like, "I've made a horrible mistake.
What have I done?
You're not cool." But the fact that he is Ballistic Skill 2 with 6 shots, assuming you don't give him the relic pistols, where when he hits, he gets another shot, that's that's crazy. And he can shoot characters. Yeah. And there's strength 4, -1 AP, 2 damage.
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
Like, even shooting an infantry squad somewhere, he's gonna do a lot of damage.
Yep.
And what a lot of people are gonna use him for as well, not so much the hand flamers, but for the other things, you get +1 to hit shooting if he kills a model.
Yeah.
And you're around him. So again, that's part of the synergy in there. Something for the bikes where they're going to be riding around up close with him. That's going to be nice.
Yeah, he seems to be a pretty good staple.
The Kellermorph is probably my favorite. Unfortunately, because the new assassin guy, was a Sanctum?
Yeah, Sanctum. This guy
the Sanctum guy. He looks cool. I would love it if he was better. He's okay, but the only way to make him okay is, like Clark and I were talking about, is you have to give him the relic to make him okay.
Yeah.
But then for the points and taking up the relic, probably the extra CP to give him the relic, you might as well just take the Kellermorph. He's just better.
Yeah.
But automatically doing a mortal wound on a 4+ is pretty amazing.
Yeah. Yes. That's on the Sanctum?
Yeah, if you give him that relic sniper.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, mortal wounds are pretty decent, especially against those characters, right? So I mean, you have to kind of weigh it, what that is.
Yeah. It's situational. Me and my other buddy were talking about it yesterday. It's all based on situation, how you're going to do it.
Yeah.
Hazardous, yeah. That kid deserved it. He was looking for trouble. No, it's good though. I like the little short stories they were releasing leading up to the Genestealer Cults. That was fun. It was nice reading. That's where they kind of contradict, though. The one with the Vindicare Assassin short story. I don't know how many of you read the short stories that GW was releasing before with the hype for the Genestealer Cults, but the one had a Vindicare Assassin basically going to kill a Patriarch so that they could cut the head off the snake, as it were. You kill the Patriarchs, the leader of the cult, right? And that'll resonate with the whole cult because they're all synaptically linked. So, but the dude was there going to assassinate the Patriarch, and he fails because Acolyte dude jumps in front of the bullet and deflects it just enough so that it doesn't hit the Patriarch, killing him outright. It just like nicks his shoulder or whatever.
Okay.
And the assassin's like, oh, well, that was a waste. I've been here for like 10 years or whatever it is, lining up this one shot that just failed. And as he's running away, a second patriarch cuts him off, and he's like, what, two? And then it's like, wait a minute. Two patriarchs? They've been very, like, there's only one patriarch. So I was like,
That's interesting.
The patriarch's that first Genestealer that basically becomes the leader for the cult. So I was like, how can you have two? So I was a little like, I don't know how that works.
Yeah. Don't know how I feel about that. Learning about that now. Even though I've just learned that, there's only one patriarch. But...
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this either. It's still a cool idea. I like the idea that the Vindicator's like, oh, well, I guess I'll just try again. And then a second patriarch's like, no. I like to make things make sense, so I like to just think that the patriarchy shot was just so fast and stuff that he was able to cut him off, and it was actually the same patriarch. Yeah, hazardous, and that's the other thing I'm thinking that it might be, because in Vigilus so far, they're showing that there's more than one cult present on Vigilus. So I haven't finished reading the Vigilus stuff, but it seems like there's like subcults on Vigilus, so there could very well be two patriarchs that ended up there. I think one was from the Pauper Princes, and then I think the other one was, so I'm forgetting the name now. But I think there are two that are on Vigilus, which would be why there's possibly two, like where the second patriarch would be from. But still, in that regard, the two patriarchs wouldn't be in the same place, right? They would be in their different hives. But yeah, it's possible.
It explains infighting, though. Explains why they would be fighting against each other. Because why would a hive fight each other, right? Or why would one cult be fighting within each other? I guess there's other reasons, but
no, it's cool though. Vigilus has been interesting so far.
Yeah.
We'll see. How many more days until Abaddon shows up on Vigilus? Is anyone keeping count of that?
No.
I think it was sometime in March, I think they said.
Yeah.
March 14th, maybe, something like that. No.
Mid-March. My prediction from the Vigilus campaign, and Clark and I were also chatting about this, was that Wind Riders are going to be a thing again in the Eldar Codex, in the Eldar meta. I think that's what my prediction is. Definitely, because just with the showing in the LVO, I don't know if you had watched any of the...
yeah, I was just going to say, were you watching the LVO?
I was, and although the guy who was piloting it wasn't necessarily the best of guys to, be representing a good gamer, but the models themselves and the army itself was pretty dang efficient in what it was doing. I mean, a 36-inch shot. So, if I'm not mistaken, also that craft world. So once you create that craft world battalion or that craft world detachment, you can pay that command point to give it that specialist feature, but you can also add Yvrain to that and make it a Ynnari detachment. So, thinking of it this way, thinking of the abilities and the actual stratagems that Wind Rider host has. So a 9-man unit of bikes can, and if you make them Simhan, they can advance and still charge, right? They'll be able to advance and still, or even if they're just moving, they're moving 16 inches, firing their
that's what
weaponry.
Stanfo was saying too.
Yeah, scatter laser, Simhan, exactly. So essentially, firing at 36 inches, shooting again if with Yvraine if she's nearby to force that again, and if they do get into combat, you can spend your 2 command points to move at the end of that fight phase. So that means that essentially there's 3 things that can happen in that fight phase. So let's say they get close enough to do this, and let's say for instance they're using an assault weapon as opposed to the heavy force. So let's say they're using scatter or shuriken cannons. So yeah, heavy or assault 3, but assault 3. So they shoot, right? They charge in, and if they kill something, their strength from death pops, and at the end of the fight phase they get to move for 2 command points. So they can shoot something else again and then move on top of that, including an advance or even fall back if that's the thing. Yeah, the bikes can. The bikes not the shining spears, but with the they shut down Ynnari Wraith blades. From the Vigilus stuff. Corey, did they make it so that it needed to be a full detachment of craft worlds and not Ynnari? And if so, was it FAQ'd somewhere? But I mean, just thinking about it in that context, though, if that was allowed, holy jeez, like essentially they're coming in, shooting, assaulting, shooting again, or assaulting again, right? And then if a unit dies, they get to move with those command points from the stratagem itself. If they're the Windrider host, like. Super, super, super crazy. There we go. So got most of the browns and stuff on these guys here. So I'll just kind of do a little bit of dry brush on them, or maybe a wash to get that deep. But we're gonna go and get the details on these guys here. I get my little mixing pot here. So this here is just a little shot cup from the dollar store, and all I do is to make it so that if I need large amounts of stuff in here, essentially what I'll do is I'll just put it in and keep adding water. I've added flow improver on this just so that it stays wet while I have that there. So I don't have to use up all my wet palette space for these colors that I need lots and lots of paint for. So just kind of repurpose this guy here over and over again to get that in. So how's your debuild coming, or are you in the process of rebuilding?
Well, I cleaned up a little bit there. I'm just trying to see. I might have to move some stuff around for this to work based on how I had it before. And I think my biggest problem I'm running into right now is the way I magnetized is going to be a detriment to doing this new, making it Tyrannofexy.
Yeah. What was the way that you magnetized it? Like, how did you do it?
So, because I'm not the best at hobbying, and I'm also a little lazy. I like to just get things done. I didn't glue the top here on.
Okay.
I have it so that I can take it off.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kind of throw the magnets in and then pop it back on. And then I have the magnets on the arm and I just put it on like that.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's different, right?
So the magnets are just loose in there?
Yeah, they just kind of suck up to the wall wherever I put it.
That's kind of neat. That's really great for like one arm, but what happens if you needed 2 arms to be magnetized?
Well, that's the thing. Now I'm running into, well, what do I do with the other side?
Mm-hmm.
Before I was doing the lazy solution where I just left the claw there and I would put the gun arm on and be like, oh, he's got the gun now. He's the Tyrannofex.
Okay.
But now I think he's just going to be a Tyrannofex. I don't see the Turvagon ever coming back as a viable unit in the game. Just because of its points. If it was less points, maybe, but it's too many points.
Yeah.
For the points of a Turbogon, you might as well just, for the, like, 20 points more, make it a Flying Hive Tyrant.
Yeah. That's the game as it is though now, right? I mean, look at we're possibly seeing those Wind Riders come back. Yeah, they put update just before the LVO. Okay, yeah, thanks, Corey. They must have updated that for those Wind Riders hosts, but still, so they still get to almost do exactly what a Shining Spear Ynnari unit would do. You know, shoot, assault, and if they kill something, you know, for the cost of 2 command points, still leave combat. Super cool. But yeah, so magnetizing, I've that sounds like it's gonna be probably a little bit of an issue for you. But like you say, you'd think that they're not gonna be a viable option. But like I say, I like, you know, looking back on 7th edition, you know, Ynnari, or even Eldar at that point, you know, it was essentially Wind Rider spam, and these Wind Rider hosts, even if it comes back, the efficiencies of those bikes with those scatter lasers, holy geez, you know, like, ends up being this really, really powerful force still again, especially with the points drop of those scatter lasers. So you never know, is what I'm saying. They may come back.
You never know, laddie.
You never know. So yeah,
that's why I like 8th edition has been very good for that.
Yeah, I think
part of me is, how much is it that they want the game to be balanced, and how much is it that, oh man, we haven't been selling a lot of this unit. Let's adjust so that this unit is better. So now people have to buy this unit.
Yeah.
GW. I tell ya, I don't trust them.
Yeah.
The G-dubs. I don't trust them.
So just for everyone who's watching right now, and going to be watching the actual video itself, the plan for the channel is to, you know, keep everybody kind of coming back and doing their hobby stuff, as is the objective of probably most social media and media content like this. So we're going to be putting forward some giveaways, and the idea is going to be the whole, you know, go to my Facebook page and like, and go to you know, my YouTube channel and like and comment and things like that. So that's the idea around it. And I think what I'm going to first and foremost give away is probably one of my Forge World models that I have. I had received one of the Ravenwing models. I'd gotten one of the HQs on there. So the idea is I'm going to be painting it on the channel and giving it away as one of those rewards. So that's an idea.
Give it away now.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, give it away. But the more so to the point of what the reason I wanted to bring it up was I want to get your ideas. You know, so Havoc, Corey, Double Down or doubled dude, everybody who's watching, post your ideas in my Facebook page. I'd love to hear them, love to see them, take into consideration what you would kind of expect as a viewer, what would keep you coming back to the channel, why, you know, what we're looking at. I'm kind of doing some painting here now.
We all know that the only reason to come here is for your beautiful face.
My beautiful face. It's my long flowy hair now, right? That's what it is. It's because I've been growing it out. That's why everybody's coming back. Oh, you guys are sweet. Best part of 8th for Corey is, best part of 8th for me was the multiple formats, ITC, ETC, book missions, keep it fresh and allows unique lists. Absolutely, the change and the differences of those formats make it so that you need to compose a list that's completely different, and provides you that opportunity, especially with the ITC allowing for forge rule models and variants to come into things. It makes your list building different because of the rule set that they use with their special magic boxes in the middle of the battlefields that are line of sight blocking essentially. Those formats really make things different. I played my army that I used when we went down to the Canhammer team tournament, Keith. I played that same army in an ITC format event, and I didn't do as well as I thought I would do with that because I didn't
different world.
Yeah, different world. It made for life being a lot harder for me in that particular realm of things with forge rule variants coming in and the different rule sets. So, and even the different secondary things in there, right? So ends up being what makes it best, what makes that army best for that situation. So it's kind of neat to see that difference. Absolutely, Corey. Those formats, have to agree with you on that one.
So I found out my problem.
What's your problem?
I also have to take the other front legs off of here because he's too far down for the gun.
Oh no.
It wasn't so much the magnets that was causing the issue, it was these front limbs.
Okay, so they made it so that he went down further, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
There we go.
So you'd mentioned...
God, I love a break.
You mentioned that you need to strip some models.
I do. I do need to strip some models. Please, impart upon me your wisdom.
Yeah, wisdom. The wisdom is actually pretty simple. Pun intended. Green. Simple green. You can get it at Canadian Tire. It's like this green, fruity kind of smelling clean liquid. It's like a natural cleaner. Any acrylics kind of just come off. So you essentially soak your models in there for a day or two. And then take a soft brush and start scrubbing it away. All of your paint should come up off of it. It's super simple. So yeah, that's probably my best.
You could say that it's simply green.
Simply green. That's right. I have used other methods in the past, with some success, and simple green is probably the easiest way of doing it. But the way I've done it in the past is I've used brake fluid. So if you go to like a Canadian Tire and get .3 brake fluid, essentially, the oil itself kind of gets in underneath the paint itself, and makes it so that it just releases off the model as well. The unfortunate thing about the brake fluid though is once you start, if you scrub it a little and then want to put it back in, it doesn't necessarily have that same effect on the remaining bits of that paint. So with the simple green, if you put it in for a couple days, scrub it off, and realize that there's still some paint on there, you can always put it back in, and it'll kind of start that process all over again. So it's kind of good.
Okay.
Actually, all of my Harlequins, every single piece of my Harlequin army has been was a repurposed or refurbished army. So I had bought all of my models used, put them all in simple green. Some things that you need to know though is if you're putting in models with very small connection pieces where the glue attaches arms to things, oftentimes that'll deteriorate the glue and essentially make them release. So you'll have to search for those little small pieces at the bottom of that container that you're looking at. But
okay.
But otherwise to get the paint off, absolutely a great method of doing that.
Well, I think I figured out how to do my stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
What is it? Just a repositioning of the legs, or?
Yeah.
Nice. Now the Tyrannofex, that's the big shooty guy, right?
Yeah, big shooty guy. He also got point reductions in the last big FAQ.
Okay.
It's good. I like it makes it more of a decision to take these guys, because when they're too many points for what they do, you just look for more effective costing units. But like as you look at more and more now, it's very much like, well, if I take this, for just 15 points more, I can just take this instead. Well, what does this do that what I currently have does? Like, what's the difference there?
Yeah.
Is it worth that extra 10 points? And then, if so, where do I take that 10 points from?
Yeah.
I really spend more time making lists than anything else in the game.
Yeah. I found that.
But one of the areas that Nids struggle with is big robots, and we all know that there's a lot of big robots out there.
Mm-hmm.
And one way of dealing with them is with a strength 10 gun that does d6 damage.
Yeah. Now, what's their survivability and durability against those big robots, though? That's my question.
Well, see, that's the thing. If it's ITC, thank God you could take a Malanthrope, so now they're -1 to hit when you shoot at them.
Yep.
And I've been toying with the idea of making them Jormungandrs, so they get cover even in the open. So they're -1 to hit with +1 to their save, so they get a 2+ armor now. So las cannons and stuff, they still get a 5+ armor save against, unless they're warriors or something that ignore cover.
Yep.
And they're still -1 to shoot at. And there are tanks. They're toughness 8 with 14 wounds. So
yeah, 14 wounds.
Obviously,
is pretty...
a volcano lance or something will just melt them anyways, but such is life.
Yeah. I've always found, and maybe it's just my playstyle, I've always found less efficiencies in using like the larger like big army tank, big weaponry, like the D6 weapons or anything like that. Anything with a variable option.
That's why I like the Exocrine so much more, because it's just flat damage.
Yeah.
And flat damage is great.
Yep.
You give him the stratagem that makes his shots 3 damage each instead of 2, and you can't complain with that.
So
it's only strength 7, so
yeah, flat damage is the greatest. I've been toying with my new list because I don't know if I told you I sold my Eldar army.
Oh yeah, someone picked it up.
Yeah, exactly. Someone from town, so it's good. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Keep it local.
Yeah, exactly, which is nice. But my plan is to go Drukhari, so I'm like thinking, okay, well, what do I want to do? And in looking at that LVO list with the 7 flyers, I was really liking that idea. But I think I'm gonna not do it, so that it's just so blatant. My idea is I'm gonna have majority of a Drukhari army, so I'm gonna do a Cabal of the Black Heart with all of my my Venoms. I'm gonna probably pop in 6 or 7 Venoms. I'm gonna do then I'm gonna do a Supreme Command detachment of Aliatok, 2 Farseer and 2 Warlocks on bikes, Windrunners. Then I'm gonna do 3 Exarch Crimson Hunters with the Star Cannons on them.
I like Crimson Hunters.
Yeah, they're great.
I liked them before they were good.
Yeah, reroll 1s, reroll wounds on anything that can fly. Like, it's super, super great. Then they
Lots
have
of
the
flying things.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So I'm gonna do that, and then with my cabal, inside of those venoms that I'm talking about, I'm just gonna essentially doom and poison shot everything to death with blasters in those. So 6 blasters in 6 of them, 6 of those venoms, and then the other venom dedicated to my 2 archons. So yeah, I think that's what the plan is gonna be.
I like it.
Yeah. Seems like it might be pretty versatile. What's super cool is those venoms are -1 to hit, so they're hard to hit thing. Fairly resilient. They're toughness 6 if I'm not mistaken. 6 wounds per on each of them, which is fairly reasonable. 5 up invulnerable save with a 6 up.
It's all about the invul save.
Yep.
Let's be real.
Absolutely. And with a 6 up feel no pain as well, right? So they're fairly resilient. They're super fast to get your units where you want them to be. So that's definite plus. But
good news, I got the magnet off of the claw.
did you?
So I
Nice.
I didn't waste a magnet.
There you
The nice part about it was the magnet guided my knife because of the magnetism.
go. Nice.
Made for a nice clean incision into the arm,
That's cool.
removing the claw. So now I can use it for the other gun. Because, as we all know, the Tyrannifex has 2 guns that are pretty decent.
Yeah.
The one is very situational, however. That's the one that can get 4d6 hits.
Oh yeah.
The big flamer.
Yeah.
It's nice, but
What's the range on it?
12 or 18.
It's
Do I have
pretty
my
decent.
book? Oh, I do have my book here. Because I'm curious. I want to say it's 18. But that would imply that it's better than I think it might be.
Sorry, Hazard, what are you asking again for?
It is 18.
Again, did I sell my army again? Yes, I did sell my army again. If that's what
It's
you're
range
talking
8.
about. Range 8. Yeah.
18.
Oh, 18. Holy jeez.
Yeah. So it's got a decent range if you
Mhm.
can get him close enough.
Can he burrow
I
or
think
deep
the
strike?
best part about it is it's very similar to the flamer that the Plague Burst crawlers have, where the strength is user.
Okay.
So it starts at strength 7 and then goes down to 5 at the worst.
Yeah. Still strength 7. 46 shots. Auto hitting.
Yeah,
Dang.
not too shabby,
No,
and it's
def-
less points than taking the Rupture Cannon.
Yeah. But again, pretty situational. Are you able to deep strike that Tyrannifex?
There is one way to deep strike him, but it requires a 100-point drop pod.
Yeah, that's not worth it.
Yeah.
Unless, I mean, the drop pod itself is a objective grabber. Could be an objective grabber if needed, right?
Yeah.
But 100 points.
It's all right.
Yeah, kind of tough to say what I would do. So Keith, in playing the Basement Collective teams tournament this past season, what was your favorite army you faced?
What was the favorite army I faced?
Yeah.
Honestly, if we're just strictly looking at the army, like in the army comp,
Yeah.
because I played games with people that it was just great playing.
Okay.
I had 2 mirror matches. I played against 2 other NIDs in the tournament,
Yeah.
which it happens.
Yeah.
Pretty much every team tournament I go to, I ended up playing against myself. But fortunately, I have experience in playing with myself, so
Yep.
I did really well.
Nice.
Yes. My favorite, though, would have to be Tau.
Yeah. Eh?
It's an army I don't get to play against very often, and the guy flat out tabled me, which I was impressed by.
Yeah. Did you was that
Yeah, no, we're good. Okay.
who was it that you had faced in that one? Who was the actual?
I don't remember the guy's name. He
No.
was from out of town.
Yeah. He had lots of sniper drones.
He had lots of sniper drones. He didn't have any broadsides, and he didn't have any riptides, and he didn't have any ghost keels. None of those things.
No, hey.
He just had
Fire warriors
battalions of brigades. Even I think they were brigades. He had brigades of Tau.
Wow.
Just bunch of infantry, bunch of sniper drones, a few suits.
Mm-hmm.
And then the commanders.
Yeah.
It would have been a different game had he not tabled me, but with the commanders being able to move like 36 inches, I couldn't hide anything from them.
Yeah. Yeah.
My stuff hiding in the back, he was able to get to. If it went one more turn, I might have been okay, and then it would have been close points-wise. Not kill points-wise, obviously, because he... Well, yeah, even kill points-wise, because he had a brigade. I killed a lot of infantry.
Yeah.
Objectives, I had quite a bit, too, but it was the tabling that did it for me.
That's just it, right?
But I was very interested. It was very interesting army.
Yeah. You also play Tau, don't you?
I have some Tau. I have not played Tau in years. I tried to sell my Tau, but no one wants crisis suits, and that's all I have.
Yeah.
But after playing that, I was like, yeah, look at my Tau again, and I made a 2,000 point list with what I have, and I was like, I'd try it out.
Right on.
Might be okay, who knows. I don't have any flying suits. All my suits are the old crisis suit models, because I got this army long time ago.
Yep.
Many moons ago.
A long time ago. I can barely remember. I don't even remember the words of the song.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
It's a song called that has the words long time ago.
The only one I know is the Tenacious D song where it starts with a long time ago. In a town called Kickapoo.
Kickapoo.
There was a humble family, religious through and through.
There you go.
But yea, there was a black sheep. I'm not gonna sing the rest of the song, but
No.
anyone that knows Tenacious D knows what I'm talking about.
Right on. These guys are coming along. Jeez, I don't think I'm gonna get all 20 of these guys done today, but getting most of this done.
Can we just take a second to talk about Mental Onslaught?
Mental Onslaught. Absolutely. What is Mental Onslaught, first and foremost?
It is a psychic power that allows you to one shot a night.
Ah, and is that the only one that's the day the music died? Yes, that's right. See, Rock a Girl. And you're probably giggling there upstairs, listening to me try and sing this song, aren't you? Thinking, geez. Mental Onslaught, yeah, absolutely. Is a power from the Tyranid Codex?
Genestealer Cults.
It is, eh? Okay.
Yeah. It's silly.
Yeah, it's when
I feel like it's a little strong. When there's a chance, there's a solid way of doing it. It's not guaranteed, but it's far more reliable than the auto kill everything.
Okay.
Because the auto kill everything, I don't think I don't think in reality, there's no way that you're going to have all the stars aligned so that you can do that. But there's still a way that you can make it very strong, easily, with Genestealers and splashing a little bit of NIDs, which competitively, I think that's what I'm going to lean towards.
Okay.
NIDs and probably going to have a battalion of NIDs and a battalion of Genestealer Cults.
Okay. So what's the reliable
going forward,
way
I think that's what I'm going to be doing. I would say the most reliable way of doing it is you make the Patriarch, so the Genestealer guy, your Warlord, and you give him the default one in the rule book that gives you +1 to your leadership.
Okay.
So you don't take the Genestealer Cult Warlord traits, you take that one. So now your Broodlord is leadership 11, because there's no caps anymore.
Yep.
And then you take the new character, the Clamus, I just call him the Clam guy, who also gives people +1 leadership around him.
Okay.
And you bring him in with the Patriarch when you bring them in. So now he's leadership 12.
Yep.
And then you take a NID detachment with the psychic power of the horror, and you basically start by casting the horror on whatever target you want, and now they're -1 to leadership.
Okay.
So now the Knight's leadership 8, your Broodlord's leadership 12.
Yep.
So when you're comparing, he needs to roll at minimum 8. He needs to at least roll a 4 to possibly win this.
That's if you
no, not even actually.
That's if you have. That's if you haven't.
He needs to roll a 5.
Yeah, because
he needs to roll a 5. If you roll a 1.
Yeah. So.
If you roll a 3+, he can't beat that, and you just keep rolling the 3+, 3+, the Knight's dead.
Yeah. And that's if you haven't.
And that's a reliable way of getting the powers off.
That's if you, and that's also if you haven't cast the horror on him, right? Because he's regular leadership 8.
He's regular 9. I looked it up.
He?
Yeah, because I was curious.
Yeah.
Well, Clark and I were curious. I looked it up. They're base 9.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
So even if you didn't get the horror off, it's still, if you roll a 4 or higher, he's taking a mortal wound, and you just keep doing that.
Yeah.
But even when you roll low, he still has to roll high. There's a reliable way of making it really strong. But then there is also a way of just making it so that they flat out can't win. And if they don't have any anti-psychic, then
yeah.
Yeah.
That's gonna be pretty crazy. I think that's gonna be a good.
I'm gonna be splashing that in my list because that'll be a good way of getting rid of.
What's the tax on that?
Model.
Like, what's the tax to take that?
For me?
Yeah, so you need to have a Patriarch, which you probably want to have anyways.
Yeah, I'm gonna have the Patriarch regardless. I just like that model a lot. I like Broodlords in general, but the Patriarch's even cooler because who doesn't want a guy that can possibly be strength 8 with 8 attacks?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would need that. And I would need the Clamus.
So just
that's basically all I would need. Yeah. Just those 2 models, because I already have everything else. As far as the casting the horror psychic power, probably Winged Hive Tyrant, because I'm taking the Winged Hive Tyrant anyways. I would just deep strike him in with the Patriarch and Clamus so that he's in range to cast the horror as well.
Yeah.
But even so, I might not have to. The way I normally run it is I can get a Winged Hive Tyrant in range if I need to, unless the Swarmlord dies.
Yeah, because you can forego his shooting phase and use a stratagem to have him move again, right?
It's not even a stratagem, it's just his ability.
It is, eh? Yeah.
Yeah, he just looks at him and says,
yeah, go.
Move. Go. Go. Fly, fly,
Be
fly,
off.
my pretty.
Be
Fly,
off.
my pretty. And he just sends them away. That's how I get my 36-inch charge on turn 1.
Yeah. Yeah, I faced that actually at I faced that at the whatchamacallit, the Hellmouth. Clark and I went down to the Hellmouth teams tournament in Parry Sound.
Hey, that's how I shut on Dark Reapers.
Absolutely. Yeah, because if you don't know about it, or if a player doesn't know about it and doesn't you know doesn't deploy properly against it, yeah, absolutely, it's definitely a baddie.
Yeah, because when I say the 30s, it's
2 times 16.
30. Yeah, 32-inch move, and then he's charging.
And then charge, yeah.
Which, if he has adrenal gland, is +1 to charge.
Hey, that's pretty crazy.
So, it's yeah.
Hey.
Too bad this Warlord can't be as good as an Abominant.
The Abominant is pretty decent. That's this guy here, eh?
I just don't like that he only has 3 attacks. That's my only beef with him. And the Swarmlord also does flat 3. He just doesn't have D6 damage. I gotta go for a second.
All right. How about we take a little break? Yeah. We'll actually take a little restroom break myself as well, and I'll get some water.
Okay.
And we'll come back in about 5-10 minutes.
All right, sounds good.
Awesome, man. I'm gonna mute you here on the screen. So go ahead and mute your mic on your meeting, and I'll switch us over to.
Okay.
We'll be right back.
We'll be right back. I'm back. Mm-hmm. See what I'd like to see. Wow. Oh my. They can hear me, but they can't hear you? Oh, alright, it's my show now. So everyone could see your lips moving, but they could hear no voice. Oh no. Here we go. That's the brush I'm looking for. I'm actually gonna do some painting. How do you like that? I took all the pieces apart, so everything's at the point where I'm back to the base. Still a little messy on this side, but I think I'll clean that up another time. Well, maybe I should finish cleaning that now.
There we go.
Okay.
Now
I'll finish doing a little more.
Now everybody can hear me.
Yeah, can we get confirmation on that stream? Can everyone hear OJ?
Good now. Awesome.
Good now?
Perfect.
Awesome.
Thank you very much, Croca Girl.
Awesome.
I was corrected. It's not C Rocka Girl. It's Croca Girl. So, yeah.
Crikey.
Croca Girl. Croca Girl. She said that it sounds more like a gamer name than what she was going to use, which was Cindy Lou Who.
Cindy Lou.
It's an awesome name. I really enjoy that. That's her handle on other social medias, and
nice.
I think it's great for those who are following my wife and I. My wife's name is Cindy, and we went actually as Cindy Lou Who and the Grinch one year as for a Christmas party. So
that's adorable.
Yes, it is. And we did really well on it too, because like Cindy's costume was super, super awesome. Looked exactly like Cindy Lou Who. And I had done like almost, it looked like prosthetic on my face, but it wasn't actually prosthetic. So I did it all with like just makeup. It was pretty cool. Actually, you know what? Let me maybe pull up. I'll see if I could pull up an image of it while we're doing this. So you're doing some painting. What are you going to be painting there?
Basically, I'm going to continue on with this. So, the standards I have right now for my Tyranid army is I've got the carapace. So what I'm doing for the carapace is, as you can see with this Turbogon that I had done, it's going to be the base red, but then I have orange highlights going on now.
Okay.
So before I had black and red, and that's basically what my guys were.
Okay.
But as you know, you need more than that for tournament standards. So my newer guys have orange highlights on basically all the chimneys, or orange on the carapace. Eventually I'm going to do something else, probably a more washing or highlight on the carapace. Maybe you can help me with that.
Yeah,
Take my guys to the next step.
Yeah.
And same thing, the skin, I just had black, but from our team tournament that we went on, now you guys helped me. I'm dry brushing on what's it called here?
Like a dark blue.
Some rust gray. Yeah, it's like a like a blue grayish color, just to give it a little more depth there.
Yeah.
And I've been loving that.
Yeah.
So
It makes a good transition, right?
yeah, it adds something, right? Instead of just having the solid black, now you have depth where you didn't have it before. And I'm happy how the also I do inside the rib cages the way I've been painting, like a more solid lighter blue in there,
Okay. Yeah.
and it really gives it like almost like a glowing feel
Yeah.
to the models as well. So the
Absolutely.
skins and all of that I'm happy with. It's the carapace I'm still not quite done. I have it to the standard for tournament playing now, but there's like one thing that I'm missing. So
And on the carapace, you thinking?
yeah, there's just something on the carapaces that I want to do. I haven't made a decision yet on how to bring it that one step further.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my plans right now, basically, I made a resolution that I'm gonna finish painting my Tyranids before I buy any new models.
There you go.
For those of you who know me or have any idea, I have a boatload of Tyranid models, so that's a lot of painting for me to do. For someone like me, I have one army that's painted. I like the way it looks. My Grey Knights, but that took me a couple of years just to paint that Grey Knight army.
Yeah.
And it's not a lot of models, but there's a lot of details on them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like your Grey Knights. They look really sharp.
I was pretty proud and happy how they turned out. And even Gilliman, I painted the Gilliman model, and
Yeah.
I was pretty happy how I did with that too.
Nice.
So I've definitely gotten a lot better at painting. Before, let me tell you, I was not very good at it, but
No,
I was also very young when I started too.
Yeah.
I think the first model I painted, I must have been like 12 maybe.
Oh my. For me, like I gave the channel a rundown of my history of painting last week, but I started painting when I was 5 years old. So if you do the math, I'm 42 right now, so that's 37 years ago.
Yeah.
So my painting wasn't always miniature painting, but it was always with acrylics, and it was like ceramics with my mom. My mom owned a ceramic shop.
Oh.
So I had gotten a lot of the techniques around different shading techniques and the use of like just the kind of preparation for your acrylic paints and stuff, all through that experience when I was young. And then when I was around, yeah. So then when I was around, I guess around 18 years old, I started playing Dungeons and Dragons with friends of mine, and
Of course.
yeah, and the models that they had, I wanted to paint because I had the ability to do so. So I painted models all the time for friends and different characters, and it was super nice to be able to do that, which was cool. And then probably in 1995 is when I actually started wargaming with tabletop war games, and started playing a game called Warzone by Target Games, no longer around. Yeah, played that for a few years, and then finally bought my first Space Wolf army. My first army was ever was a Space Wolf army, and it was probably 1997. Yeah, 1997 is when I bought my first Space Wolf army. Bought it. I painted it up within like a week, and because we were playing in a tournament at what used to be called Adventures in Games. I don't know if you were gaming at the time when it was called Adventures in Games. And
so that would have been when I was around, I guess, like 10 years old, maybe.
Yeah, probably like when you were just starting to do this stuff, right?
Yeah.
And
Chris, back
yeah.
with Chris there, yeah.
Chris Vigneault, yeah, or Chris Bradbury was his name. And but this was actually even before that. This was when Mark was running the shop. Mark Dondervan. He had
Oh.
actually owned the shop. And then Doug had taken it over, and then another Mark had taken it over. And anyways, so during the whole process, I painted the army, and it was super cool because I was stoked because I won Best Painted in that tournament because I was one of the only armies that had a fully painted army. But I had bought the models literally a week before, which was super neat. But yeah, that's my history of painting miniatures. My experience with painting techniques though is varied, right? Because I was 7 years old when I had my first airbrush in my hand, which is very great for me to be able to have that experience when I was younger.
Yeah.
And be able to apply it to what I know now, right? So a lot of people think that, an airbrush is a mysterious art of doing things. It's just making sure that you know how to use the tool and how to clean it properly and how to put the paint in, really. And it's just muscle memory on how to make the paint fly, right? Majority of what I use an airbrush for is for base coating and dusting. I call it dusting. A lot of people call it a different type of shading. It's like in the hobby world, there's I don't even remember what it is. Was the event at Cambrian? Yes, Corey, that was one of the ones that I helped to do, but no, the event my first event that I actually did a paint that I won that Best Painted at was at the store itself. But yeah, the one time that we did event at Cambrian was one that I had actually done the tournament organizing for. Were you involved at that? Zenithal, that's it. Thanks, Hazard. Yeah, Zenithal base coating, it's called. So essentially, what it is when you prime the entire model black, but then take a lighter color like a gray or a white, and essentially just dust it where the light sources are coming from. So essentially, what it does is it casts shadows on the dark spots and keeps the light spots light for you to be able to capture where that light source is. It's a really great approach to do like showcase style models, because then all of the light sources are coming from the actual base coat that you've done, or you're essentially put in there. Yeah, Ken and yourself attended many of the ones. Yeah, we had done a few of them at Cambrian College, which was super cool. You guys must have been pretty young then at that time too, then, right? I mean, because you guys are fairly young, considerably younger than I am.
Youngins.
You're probably in your 20s, I'm guessing. But yeah. So last week I asked everybody in the chat and online what they're most proud of accomplishing in the hobby itself. So I'm going to ask that of you, Keith. What's your most what's your favorite model that you've painted? Like the one that gives you the most joy.
My favorite model.
Yeah, not unit, not army. Favorite model.
As I look upon my shelf. I'm gonna have to go with my Gilliman.
Gilliman, yeah. Nice.
I'm gonna have to go with my Gilliman. Who was literally... I don't have a Marine Army. Or I didn't. I have models now. I just was like, there's going to be a Loyalist Primarch for 40k. I want it. That's a historical moment.
Yeah.
So I bought them and painted them up and looked at tutorials on how to do the flaming sword, and
Nice.
that's the first time I'd done any fire painting before like that.
Okay.
And you know, I remember posting it because we have our own group, and I remember posting the picture and everyone looking and saying like, "Who did you get to paint that for you?" I was like,
Yeah.
"Joke's on you! I painted that," and everyone
Nice.
was very impressed with the flaming sword. Wonder if I can grab the model here.
Yeah. Yeah. Corey and Hazard, what do you guys suspect are your favorite models? And if you're able to capture a picture of them, if you have them still, and or if you have a picture of them, post them up in our Facebook page, the Brush Jockey Studios, and I'll go and take a look. I'll pull them up. $16 and $18 when you were playing Chaos and Lost in the Dam. You know what? I think I remember. I remember you guys. I'm very horrible with my past and my history of remembering people at events and things. So I'm really bad at that. But I somewhat remember the Lost and the Damned army of Kens. That would have been back in probably like, geez, yeah, 19. Yeah, probably like early 2000s, right? 16 and 18.
Oh, Jeff. So, this is my Gilliman.
Yeah, I kind of figured the Geoff. I just didn't know if you wanted to be listed or be named as Geoff in the chat. I'll just start calling you Geoff then. And I have like no super favorite model. I think nothing I'm super proud of. Yeah, that looks great, man. Would you mind taking some photos or even the pictures that you posted in your group and posting them on our Brush Jockey Studios page?
Yeah, I can certainly do that.
That'd be cool.
I have a couple of pictures actually of my better models, even my Grey Knights and stuff. I can post those.
Yeah,
to the group,
actually,
for sure.
If you want to, if you don't mind, actually, in the window that you see right below your screen there, if you just click on share, go ahead and click on share desktop or share screen. I think you can share things with us.
Oh, okay, yeah. Let me get that open.
Yeah. Geoff says, super favorite model, think nothing super proud of yet. My new Fungoid Shaman is on the GW website. Oh, cool. That's awesome. I'll post my squids
right on.
today. You're just about finish your squibs. Nice. Squids. Very cool. That's pretty neat. I'd have to say, Geoff, I think you're, and this is just from a perspective of person outside, your progress in creating or in doing large amounts of models is great. Like when you did your Night Haunt stuff, I think that was a really exceptional kind of build process that you had used there, which was good. So good on you for that. I like that.
Was that the only ones I have?
Okay, looking like we have most of these models pretty much done. Gotta do the basing on them, but I'm just gonna put this with blue. There we go. I really like these models. These are super cool looking. I'm probably gonna do a little bit of a glow on the headlights as well. So when I get my airbrush out, process that I use for that is I'll take white and I'll just like really lightly put the brush in on that so that it'll kind of make a glow on it, and then I'll take a yellow wash and I'll put it through the airbrush as well, right through that, so it makes that white stuff yellow. All right, here we go.
Are you seeing?
Yes, just give me one moment here. I'm seeing all of your screen. So just give me one moment here. I'm gonna switch this over to sharing my full. All right, there we go. There we go. This, just bear with me. Sorry guys, just there we go. Desktop audio, microphone. All right, here we go. Let's go back to our Zoom meeting here so that we can see Keith's stuff here. Awesome. That looks great, man. Is that coming through on the stream? Your picture and my audio?
We have an infinite loop.
Yeah, not anymore. It was an infinite loop, but now it should be just showing this.
Yeah, there we're good.
Awesome. That looks
yeah,
good.
The stream's just a second behind. So yeah, so that's the front. Some side and back action.
That's awesome. That looks great, man. So did you do it with a base blue and then your gold on top, or did you do gold and then fill in the blue?
I did the blue first, and then I did the gold after.
Okay. Okay. Looks great. I like it. I like how you did the flame sword on that, like on the front of that sword.
Mm-hmm.
Like on the front part of it. That looks super cool. Nice job, man. Very cool.
Yep, that was the first time I had done flames on a model before, and I was like, wow.
That's super cool. That's really, man, that was good. I told everybody else my favorite model that I painted was a long time ago. It was a conversion for an Eldar Howling Banshee, and I had chopped up Janezar.
Okay.
And put in like a regular did regular Janezar and cut her up to make her jumping over this kind of log thing. Anyways, it was really cool. Some other ones that I'm kind of stoked about getting done and completed. Geoff, you'll probably appreciate these. Are some of the busts from Luxumbria. So I started this Joan of Arc bust. So she's pretty cool. I also started one of the extra ones. So Luxumbria is essentially the Forge World equivalent for Infinity. So kind of getting some. I forget the name of this model, but yeah, enjoying that one. Another one that I'm really super stoked and proud of is a Bounty Hunter from Infinity. But by far though, my favorite model that I've done is that Howling Banshee Exarch. It's super cool. Oh, look at that. Hazard's got some images to post for us, so I'm gonna switch over here. All right, here we go. So let's see what Hazard's got in stock for us. Squigs, this is their stuff today, man. This looks
so
great,
pretty
man.
cool. Orc rock band. Love it.
Yep.
Has almost like a oh, what's that movie? Mad Max. The newer orc vehicles give me that Mad Max feel.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sorry, where are you seeing this? I guess in his posts. Oh, Fungoid. And the next one down. This guy here. Yeah, it's super cool. Those look great, man. Those look really good. Did you do a dry brush on your squigs for that one? Or did you use the airbrush to get them over? Oh, the middle one, that's up to here. Okay, I see. Yeah, your orcs were pretty cool. Gotta figure out a way to keep Keith in that frame. I mean, we'll do that. I keep on missing you. As soon as I click off of the frame, it gets you over. I'll have to figure that bad boy out. But yeah, look at that. There we go. So we got pretty much the completion of 5 of these guys. I'm gonna touch up a couple of things. So for any of you who want to know how to do that object source lighting that I was talking about, so I was saying that I was gonna do these with like the headlights with an airbrush to be able to get that glow part. I'm gonna do it real quick right now without an airbrush on one of these guys so I could show you. So essentially what I do is I take a nice light color. So I'm going to do Ulth 1 Gray. A lot of people will use like a skull white or anything like that. You can, either or works. The idea around this is you want to get this paint thinner than milk. So essentially what I do is I get my wet palette here, and here's my paint. You can almost see that it's translucent as I'm doing it. See, as I'm kind of moving that around. So essentially, I want to get off as much paint from my brush as possible, but have it still on there. So essentially, you can see that brush, it's barely looking like there's paint on there. And essentially, I'm just going to hit it, or kind of just try to edge highlight as much as I can around that headlight, right? And then I just kind of get it as much as I can in there. So essentially what it does is it makes it so that there's nice light areas around that object of light. Okay, I'll let it dry. I'll do the next one. So essentially, this object source lighting is just getting out there. Now it's not very bright at this point. I'm not seeing lots of brightness from here. Right, but as that dries, I go back and put another coat of it here so that it becomes almost white. Right, and I'll rinse and repeat for all of the things that I want that to be there. So essentially, I'm just putting little layers of white around those lights. Right, and I'm not being very careful with it because I want that overlap. Right, I want that white to be on the outside of it because that's going to be what makes that glow effect. Right, so I'm just going to put a couple extra layers on here. Right. Okay, so it's almost fully white on those headlights. Right. With that happening now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to find a nice yellow wash. So I have Lamenter's Yellow. This guy here, it's a glaze. It's a wash or a glaze, whatever you want. Right? And I take this now. Okay, and I put it into the edges of that. So see, I'd over put it on. Essentially what I'm doing is I'm just kind of going over and just glazing that white to make it look yellow now. Okay, so I glaze that white to make it look yellow. This is a nice quick way of making it so that it looks like it's object source lighting. But I'm not done here because although I've made everything kind of look yellow, all of those recesses and dark areas need to be kind of darker. So with this yellow, it's great to have the highlight on it, but you need to low light it as well. Right? And this is where it takes a little bit of time because you need to wait till this dries completely to be able to do that. But essentially what I'll do now is I'll go in with like a red or an orange wash, so almost like the Carlsberg Crimson or almost like a red glaze even, right? Bloodletter red glaze. And I'll just get it right in beside or right in between, right beside those bars to be that recess part of it. And then if I need to, I'll just like re-highlight with the Ulthuan Gray in very detailed, very specific areas. But you can see, even here, looks like there's a little bit of a headlight look on there. And that was done really quickly, but you can kind of take your time and build up the light color to make it a little bit better on that too. The first link I posted is your Mad Max Battle Wagon. Okay, yeah, to do your lights for sure. Is that an airbrush? Is what an airbrush hazard or geoff? Oh, it's an airbrush. Gotcha. Yeah, that looks great. That looks super cool. Alright, so there we go. I have my 5-man unit done here, which is cool. Just need to do the basing, which I'll do with all of them, but yeah, hopefully Clark enjoys that. Oh, I have one more thing to do. I had one model here with some ropes I need to fix up. Okay, so my suggestion for you, you're doing okay. My suggestion for you, you said you wanted to bring that carapace to the next level, right? So my thought is this, and can you like put it up close to your camera? I want to see the color red that you have. Okay, yeah. Okay, let me just see here. Okay, so it looks like you have a little bit of like the red or orange at the edges, right? Like the brighter stuff. So what I would suggest for you is try and get like a deep red in like the cracks and crevices. So even if you use like just a wash here, like Carlberg Crimson, like in all of the crevices and then the actual edges of where the carapace is interlocked with each other, like put a line of it there, and it'll be very noticeable that, because it's not a burgundy red that you have on it, right? It's like a red, like a corn red that goes a little bit more orange, right? Yeah, that's not the color that you want. You want this guy here for sure. It's like it turns the yellow that I was putting on these almost like a dark red, right? It's and it'll really deepen those recesses, right? It'll be noticeable though. So what you'll have to do is you'll have to kind of go back after it's dried and like blend, like essentially put a color back over that red color back in so that it just kind of blends back in. So let me show you what I mean. Let me find something to be able to work on. I got something here. All right, so this guy here, right? My Watchmaster, I think it is. Anyways, so what I'm going to do is, actually, you know what? I have something red already on here. So, this guy here, right? The can. So what I'm going to do is, because that's red, and even if I had my edges like all highlighted already, what I would do is I would put that color into those areas that need to be shaded. And you can see that noticeable kind of brush stroke there, right? But it deepens that color right in that corner. And you can use this. You can use if you want a more earthy tone, use Argax Earthshade rather than the red. And even while it's still wet like that, right? Take that same red that you used before and just blend it back so that those brush strokes aren't going to be as noticeable. And all I did there was just dip that brush into the red, and it kind of gets it so that it's a little bit more of a blended color, right? So it deepens that red like right there, right? But it's still the same red out here, so it just deepens that color in that area. You get what I mean? Yeah, that's what I mean. It'll be a transition from like a dark to that orange, right? So it'll make a difference. Yeah. Coolio. So, Tyrannifex is well underway. I'm working on these Atlan Jackals. So I'll come back to this now, to my object source lighting without an airbrush. So all I'm doing now is taking a nice small brush with a darker color. I'm gonna choose to use my Bloodthirster glaze. Right. And you don't want to get too overzealous here. Just get it into those crevices. I think I'm in frame here. Yep. I think that actually made it look worse. That's okay. What I'll fix that with is a little bit of white over top of that edge there, where that is right there. Because this is making it look like a big red light, and I made the wrong choice in color there. That's okay. It's a happy mistake. You laugh, but Bob Ross has wise words to live by. Happy mistakes. There's never ever a mistake that goes wrong in the world of miniature war painting. It's always happy mistakes. Always happy mistakes. All right, we're coming to about 10 minutes left in the show. For those of you watching the recorded part of this, or even if you're just watching us live, please make sure you like us on Facebook at Brush Jockey Studios. Make sure you take a look and post what your comments are on what you want to see in the show itself, what kind of giveaways you want to see. Kevin! Hey, buddy. Yeah, check out these nice jackals that we got painted here today. So nice, these jackals. But yeah, tips and tricks, things that you want to see, questions that you want answered. Showed you today how you can kind of get a decent, kind of object source lighting without an airbrush. Obviously, that it's kind of a quick way of doing it, but it does work. But yeah, I'm looking for your suggestions on what to see. Big old shout out to that TBMC Kevin that just joined on. Thanks so much for jumping online. We're about to finish off for the day, but thanks for showing your support. And there's our kind of finished jackal. Done to a standard that's decent. Tabletop plus, I would call that. From Mr. Clark Legault. Alright, so I'm going to take this opportunity to say thank you again. I think we'll probably sign off now. But unless there's anything else that you wanted to add, Keith. Awesome. Absolutely, I think so. So thank you so much for helping me out with that lore part of things. As I said, I'll probably be having you and or other people come on and show me the ways and the different ways of it. I'm really stoked about. I was really stoked about learning about the Genestealer Cults. Specifically, my interest lies in how the actual Genestealers are the scouts or sentinels for the hive fleets, which are super cool. Something that's a big takeaway for me, and how they have the different levels or the different, the different generations of Genestealers throughout the actual through the actual throughout the actual faction itself. So the first level and the aberrations and yeah. Oh, cool. Are the ones that are predominant. Yeah. So what you're saying then is that's a hobby project for the orcs that I have. Huh? Yeah. There we go. Genestealer orcs. What would I play them as? Oh, you can't hear me. Uh-oh. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. I turned off the wrong thing. I'm sorry.
You turned me off?
I turned you off a little while ago. Oh, man. Impossible to have a Genestealer orcs. Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah,
Keith, by the way.
the orcs just they can smell the wrongness in the other orcs, and they basically just kill them.
Yeah, my apologies, Keith. I tried to turn off my mic when I switched over to look at the full screen, and that's my bad. So yeah, my bad. Well, I'm just learning because it's only my second stream here.
Yeah.
I
got it.
I'll have that.
You just
I'll have
don't
that
want to
layout
hear
set
what
up.
I have to say.
Actually, I really did want to hear what you had to say. That's why I feel so horrible.
Yes, exactly. They ain't green enough.
Yeah, I guess so. It'll be kind of purple. All right, so maybe that. Or maybe so maybe
that, and like even
cow.
Eldar, because the Eldar reproductive system takes too long for Genestealer cults to do anything with it, and by the same token, they can kind of sense the shadow and the warp with them, so they know something's up.
Yeah. So Tau though?
Tau, yeah. The Tau, actually, there was a thing in there where the Tau, when the Genestealer, like when the Hive Fleet invaded Tau space, they actually were experimenting with Genestealers and making actual Tau hybrids on purpose because Tau, it was a bad idea.
It was a bad idea.
It didn't end well for them.
No, I guess not. No, that's for sure. Awesome. Well, thanks again, man, for coming out. As I was saying when your mic was turned off, thanks so much for coming and helping me out with learning the lore about the Genestealer cults. I really do appreciate it. Maybe next time we can chat about something a little bit different. But yeah. Thank you so much for everybody that joined in, shared your stuff with us, and if Kevin, while you're still on, ideas, tips, tricks on what we're doing. If anybody out there that's watching has streamed before or has success in doing this, I'm more than happy to take your constructive criticism. I just want to make sure that this is an opportunity for everyone has a place to come on Sunday afternoons to do some painting and hobbying with me, your brush jockey, at Brush Jockey Studios. So thank you so much for joining us, and have a great rest of your afternoon, everyone.
Have a good one, everyone.
See you later, guys. We're out.
Yeah, no, I'm still here, sorry. Yeah.